Let's fight. A very good evening to each and every one of you, wherever you folks are joining us from this evening. Welcome in the ring. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome in the ring, folks. Let's fight. You all know how we do it. Good to see each and every one of you on the line tonight. Tonight is a little deviation away from our usual program formatting, and I know you guys are going to allow us and forgive us for doing so. But as I said, good to have all of you in the ring. We're going to ring the bell one more time to bring you all in the right way. Good to see you there, Anne-Marie Selby, Beatrice. Good to see you there, Annette Cummins. Good to see you there, Abiras. All the A's out tonight. Good to see you there, Abida. Good to have you, David and Myrna. Lennox is here too. Gladys and Paula on the live tonight. Eon Winters, Jolly Anderson, Fidel, all the other folks joining us. Share the live as we ring that bell. Yet again, we're holding for some of you to come on the live. It's pace and power tonight. Don't let anybody hold you back, folks. Don't let anybody hold you back. We are happy to have each and every one of you. We're going to ring the bell one more time to bring you all in the true and correct format. Share the live, smash that emoji button, good folks. Share that live, smash that emoji button. We're coming in strong right away. Do let us know if you're hearing us clearly. Do let us know if you're seeing us clearly, because that's what we want. We want folks to hear and to see us crystal clear. I think we can ring the bell one more time to bring you all in right. And all the pages we're going through to, all the social media platforms, whether it's YouTube, our favorite place, whether it's Twitter, whether we're on Facebook, wherever you're joining us from tonight, folks. Cheryl Ann and Angelo Jordan, welcome in the ring. Angelo, how are you doing? How is mommy doing? How are your sisters doing? How is everybody doing? Wilt Felix, we see you there. Vesta Hardy, we see you there. Daphne Joseph Lee, we see you there. Lance Burgess, we see you as well. And all the other folks who are joining us tonight, we see you folks as well. Welcome to our broadcast, folks. Welcome. We hope you all are seeing us clearly. Do let us know. If you're seeing us clearly. Folks said seeing and be hearing and seeing you. We happy about that, folks. We got quite a program here for you this evening. I know this bell has upset some of you, but we're gonna ring it. We're gonna ring it for all of those who are now joining us. As I said, folks, good to see each and every one of you on the live tonight. Ring it one more time for all of those of you who are now joining. Good to see Vesta. Good to see Vesta there. Good to see Alex. Good to see David Wood. David, thanks for joining us. Good to see Audrey and Claudine LaRose Duqua joining us from Region 10. And in particular, that very, very special place close to us, Kokwani. Good to see you. Joan Stephanie, all of Kokwani, respect and manners. We want to say thanks to Dorrit George. Thank you, Dart, so much for that. Dart has made a contribution to our broadcast on YouTube. You know, when we live, you can make contributions to our program on YouTube. In the comment section, there's a $sign at the very bottom. And when you click on that, it actually purchase a sticker, purchase an emoji, something of that sort. And part of that comes towards us. Isabella Butters, we see you there as well. And Veronica Primo Rollins. Folks, we got quite a program. And because we're deviating a little bit from our usual program, good folks, we're going to have our guests very early. We got a lot to get through this evening, and we are so happy that so many of you have joined us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it's good to have all of you folks on the live tonight. Roxana Des is here. Vanessa Wardine is here. Shawnette Sicharan Mohan. And of course, as I said, Claudine Lewis Duqua is here as well. Guys, I'm so happy that you folks are here. I know it's cricket on tonight. A lot of folks they're gonna be at cricket, but no doubt, I have no doubt, folks are going to come back and watch our broadcast who miss it at this hour because they're at cricket. I know some of y'all watching cricket one side and we on the other side in your ear because some of y'all built like that. Some of you folks built like that. Again, good to see Kim Walker on the live and Gil Alicock. Glyxis Mingo Byrne on the live. Mabon King on the live as well. Folks, from the many places you all are joining us from. Good to have each and every one of you special folks with us tonight. Today, I see Yolanda Thomas is on the live as well. Savannah Page, Andrew Cuthbert is here too. Still Ogle is here as well, folks. Share the live, and I see hundreds of you have already joined us. Smash that emoji button for us, folks. Smash that emoji button for us. Let's see how you guys are feeling out there tonight. Pamela Dover, we see you as well. And I see Joylyn is here. I see we got Clarex's Tromley Richmond has joined us, and Vanetta, Karen, Joylyn, Gail, Edward Rooms, Princess Diane is here too. Folks, smash that emoji. But I want the likes, I want the loves, I want the hearts, and so on to match the amount of people who are joining us. Yolanda Thomas, thank you for that contribution via our YouTube channel. Yolanda's made a contribution, of course. When you click on that $sign, folks, it helps, it helps, it helps. It helps, it helps. David Wood, Isabella Butchers, and Mitchell says pace and power. Good to have you, Anne, and all the other folks. Folks, we got a very special guest who is going to be dropping by, who is going to be helping us to wade through some of these issues. And I'm watching for my guest. As soon as he comes into the virtual green room, boom, we on. John Joe, Joan Stephanie, Maxine Still, and all the other folks joining us. Good to have you on the live tonight. Yep, over 1,000 of you have already tuned in. We're just a few minutes into our broadcast, and already so many of you on the live. Take the opportunity, as I said, smash that emoji button, good folks. Smash that emoji button. Share the live, folks, and let's have a go at it. We're fired up at this end, and we are ready to go. The folks are saying they're seeing us, they're hearing us. Well, that's all we need. We gone like that. Again, good to see so many of you on the live tonight. We got the fight card set, folks. We got the fight card set. And I want you guys to know, coming to Georgia, 1 day to go, 24 hours to go before we head to Georgia. I'm going to put an asterisk on tomorrow night's program very early, right? An asterisk there, whether we'll have a program tomorrow night, because, folks, we inbound for Georgia. Who no. Carol Hudson, good to see you there. Good to see you, Don Sampson. Beverly Moore, good to see you as well. And all the other folks joining us. We're coming to Georgia the same way we're coming to Washington on the 27th and the 28th for that big historic conference. The Washington, let me give it the credibility it deserves, the Washington Conference on Guyana, the Washington Conference on Guyana. Folks, that is what's taking us to Washington, and I'm so privileged to have one of the persons. I told you I have a very special guest. I'm ready to bring him on. I hope he's ready. You know, when you're coming on social media like this, in this day and age, you got powder your nose, you come out here looking anyhow. Please and thank you. You know, I don't here looking anyhow, and I'm ready to have him on. Him. He is ready to be on, folks, because I want him from the start of the program, from the start, right through. I can ask a couple of questions. The program is really he own. He might in turn ask me some questions. That's how much he can take up this program. He might ask me some questions as well. Folks, without further ado, I want to welcome the one and only, a brother from another mother. You know the people that had from long. The one and only Rickford Burke. You're on, my brother. Welcome.
Good night
to you.
Good night, sir. How are you?
I am great, Rickford. I am well, and I'm happy that you're here. I was telling the folks what's coming up on the 27th and the 28th. You moderation bad because you're causing a lot of problems. A lot of problems. A lot of problems. As a matter of fact, our entire program this evening, we're talking about Irfaan Ali in Washington, not because we really want to talk about Irfaan Ali in Washington, but because a whole press conference today was dedicated to the reason why Irfaan Ali is in Washington. You know, we wouldn't give them, no primetime billing like that, without any cost. We ain't giving them no primetime billing. But a whole press conference today, ladies and gentlemen, was dedicated to Rickford Burke for having Irfaan Ali in Washington. Yeah, believe it or not, believe it or not, folks, we got a prize fighter with us. It's not like the fellow who had a press conference today. We ain't dealing with no cab horse. You know, we got a stallion here. We got thoroughbred here with us. A man who can go 12 rounds and more, pound for pound. Rickford Burke, he's the president of the Caribbean Guyana Institute for Democracy, and he's going to be helping us to wade through some of these issues this evening, because as I told you, it's Rickford make a whole government pack up. Government pack up and gone to Washington for 3 days, because here's why. Look why. Because Rickford and his other stakeholders there, other organizations, he said Rickford is the president of the Caribbean Guyana Institute of Democracy, and himself another organization, they're having this the Washington Conference on Guyana, September 27th to 28th. I know them boys now. They run out like it's a pre-conference. They having, you know, I can see them thinking, why didn't we think about this? You know, and so they have gone out in Washington for 3 days. For 3 days. But before we head into those issues, as they said, today's press conference by the vice president was dedicated to Rickford Burke. Dedicated to Rickford Burke. Again, because
I feel honored.
they know one of the things this conference in Washington, D.C. will be addressing is victimization and marginalization of Guyanese, especially but not limited to Afro-Guyanese. And so one of the things as we head into this discussion this evening for the opener, Jabia took on Mr. Granger, talking about Mr. Granger's health and a whole manner of things. Why? Not because he wants to talk about Mr. Granger's health. He can tell you the back part why you really start talking about Mr. Granger's health. You see, the aim is to pull down in any way possible so that you don't have credibility based on what you were saying. Is there really Mr. Granger's health he went after, folks? He can tell you the end part, and that is the opener, folks. And I want my guests to respond to that as soon as we come back, because it has to do with marginalization and discrimination. As I told you guys, the entire press conference today went to Rickford Burke, and this conference that is coming up, folks, in the United States of America, in particular Washington, D.C., on the 27th and also on the 28th. So that is what it was about. Here's the opener. Granger, the man waded into Granger, your vice president.
Granger has emerged from, I don't know what he's been doing, but this guy talks about morality and everything else. This was the leader who tried to take away medical treatment from former heads of government, heads of state of Guyana. They reduced the payment to an annual fee of, I think, $200,000 you can get for your health care benefits. Removed it from former presidents. Before that, it was unlimited. Otto Chung got it, unlimited. It was there for Desmond Hoyt, every other leader before, all the way up to Ramatar. He changed the law. Now he's the first president who we have had to illegally, basically. If someone comes after us, now as a government, we'd be hard-pressed to say why we are paying all of his medical expenses, which run into millions of dollars for Granger. Because he changed the law. So it's illegal now to do that. But we're doing it because we believe that a former head of state should be accorded some of the privileges. So he has no moral standing to speak about anything. He writes about Amerindian people now, how that is through some Village Voice. And then he goes on another program to talk about democracy. Now, if we were in a democracy like the United States of America, Granger and Cathy Hughes and Ramjatan and Patterson and Harmon, a whole gang of them, would have probably been before the court now.
So this is your fault. This is your fault, Rickford. Because all of this, believe it or not, has to do with this conference you have coming up. We can get to the democracy bit, but it's this marginalization and victimization. So Granger shouldn't talk about Amerindian. He shouldn't advocate on their behalf. You know what's happening at Isanaru, what's happening at Chinese landing, and so on. You know, he shouldn't talk against that marginalization and victimization. No, no, no. He shouldn't talk about it. He has no right to talk about that. Thanks to you, Rickford.
Well, Bart Jagdev actually is lucky that Guyana is not a democracy like the United States, or else he would have gotten the death penalty, or he would have been in jail for life. His government killed, he and his government, at his directive, killed over 1,400 young black men, formed death squads, tortured people, killed them extrajudicially, murdered them, executed people politically, um, committed political assassinations. So listen, this guy likes to talk about everybody going to jail. Burke is going to go to jail. Granger should be Granger should be in jail. Bart Jagdev should be in jail. He and his government formed their squad that murdered over 1,400 people. He shouldn't even speak. He should not even be allowed to be in public office. He's a killer. That man was condemned by the Bush administration. Condemned by the Bush administration for having their squads that kill people. He is so lawless and uncivil that he has to come to hold a press conference to talk about his government, the people of Guyana, paying the medical bills of a former president. What about his bills? When he was opposition leader, he was flown to Miami. Did the government pay that? They chartered a flight or something like that. Did the government pay that? Why doesn't he talk about the East Indian heads of state, former heads of state? How much does the government pay for his medical bills? This is the hypocrisy. The thing about it is that he wants to, every black leader in the country, he wants to belittle. I am not sure if his East Indian cult members don't get tired of this megalomaniac sitting down with a red G-string drawers every Thursday as though he's doing a skin out in front of Stabrook Market, cursing out black people. I mean, it is the most ridiculous sight every Thursday. Listen to him. Cathy Hughes will be before the court. David Patterson should be before the court. Granger should be before the court. Raphael Trotman, who the hell this man think he is? That every Thursday he can just come there and curse out black people. I don't know why the leaders in Guyana are tolerating this tin cup dictator, this cricketer. I am kerfuffled, Sharon, that the people in Guyana tolerate this megalomania, this reprobate, this despicable human being. He's uncivil. He's sitting down cursing out a sick former head of government because the government, the people of Guyana, the state, is paying his medical bill. Well, who's supposed to pay? The people in Pakistan, or the people in Israel, or maybe Zimbabwe? This guy is so ridiculous. I don't understand why he's in public office. He and his government formed death squads that killed over 1,400 people, Sharon. They tortured people. They murdered people. They killed Courtney Cumming. They murdered Ronald. They killed Sash Saw. Why isn't he in jail? The whole country should be asking, why isn't Bart Jagdev before the courts? And you know why? Guyana is not a democracy.
Because again, Rickford, there's this preempting of certain themes that are going to be had out of this conference that yourself and others are hosting, the Washington Conference on Guyana. They're preempting that, and that is why he's holding it, not in Granger's health per se. That's just to pull along Granger, so he doesn't seem to have any credibility in the eyes of the public, right? But it's that marginalization and victimization of people, that central theme that has bedeviled their administration for the last 3 years. Why is he talking about Amerindian, our indigenous brothers and sisters, trying to give representation to them for their plight? That is what is central to what he's talking about there. For those persons who are now joining us, We're talking this evening about Irfaan Ali goes to Washington because of Burke. Burke, the whole government, the whole administration, marched them to Washington for 3 days. For 3 days, So we're talking about what was said during this press conference today by the vice president, again, on this theme of discrimination and marginalization. So that's the first piece. Don't talk, about our indigenous brothers and sisters. That we selling Ranger. We now learn from the same way he's wading into Burke. Why is Burke doing all of this stuff? And then he's going to try to pull down Burke. Oh, Burke is a criminal and all that. That's the tactic.
Just
right?
like the person, I'm a criminal, just like the person his mother made. Let him look in the mirror.
Of course, he has to call your name because it wouldn't be a press conference without him calling the name of Burke. He also called the name of the leader of the opposition. Nigel Hughes also was a target today in this press conference. Again, he's preempting this team coming out of the Washington Conference on Guyana, discrimination and marginalization.
But
Here's what he said.
Sure, before you go on to that, I forgot to mention something with regard to his comment just now. You see, he has this sense of entitlement that whatever the state owns, the PPP owns. That's why he can talk. He said, we are paying Granger's bill. Did you hear him? We who? The people, the state of Guyana is paying it. He's entitled to that. But this megalomaniac, this ordinary commoner, right? This nigger yard fella, Jagdeo, the cricketer, cockabelly eating Jagdeo, thinks that he owns Guyana's assets. He and the PPP own Guyana's asset. So he can sit down and talk and be condescending about the fact that the state is paying the bill for a former president who has health issues. Let me tell you something. When that guy gets sick, he's going to be miserable, he's going to be lonely, and he is going to die a miserable death. I'm not wishing him death, but I'm telling you, he is a nasty, odious guy. He doesn't have anything to do. He goes home, he doesn't have any family. He goes home, he watches the walls, he probably runs or scrolls, Googles around, check up social media, run through all the nasty gossip, and like a little sissy, he comes back the next day and repeats all this nonsense. I mean, and he is the vice president of the country. He has absolutely nothing to do. Nothing to do.
A whole country. So here is the vice president on centrally now. He's heading into this team. He can't avoid it much longer. That's why he brought up Granger. He heads centrally into this team now of marginalization and discrimination, trying to preempt, some of the themes coming out of Rickford and Company's conference coming up on this 27th, 28th of this very month here in Washington, D.C. Listen to what he says.
We have seen Mr. Norton holding a press engagement and about ethnic discrimination and a large part of the population being marginalized and victimized. And therefore, he wants to meet President Ali to deal with that. Now, first of all, there is a body established by our Constitution for anyone who believes that he or she is marginalized or victimized by the executive or anyone associated with the executive, and that's the Ethnic Relations Commission. So instead of Mr. Norton trying to bring this to the attention of President Ali, because and I'm sure he'd never be able to do so in a manner that is credible, he should take all of these cases that he has of discrimination to the ERC. But he will never do that because they will be disproved easily. We have seen that. That narrative, every time it surfaces, how ridiculous it sounds. So, and he is not the only one carrying the narrative. I saw Nigel Hughes yesterday posting about Region 5 allocations, about how many roads are done and how many are in African communities. And and how many in Indian communities. So of 8 roads, he pointed out the one is in the Indian community. One community, 23 roads are being done, and maybe 7 in the Afro communities.
Yeah, so that's some of what came out of that portion there. Of course, now he's talking centrally as we come into this discussion about what's going to go down at your conference there, Rickford, later on this very month here. Of course, for folks now joining us, Nigel News has put out this information concerning roads being done in Region 5, and he pointed out, Rickford, that several of these roads, you know, look a little thing-ish. Bushlot getting 23 roads. That is a particular area that traditionally votes a certain way. Number 30 getting 1 road. Lovely last one. Number 28 village getting 1 road. Catherine's Lost getting 1 road. Number 22 village getting 1 road. Hope Chung on the work. And Nigel News, Attorney at Law Nigel News, says, when we disaggregate, you know, how development is being done in Ghana, you'll really begin to see a picture, perhaps of marginalization and discrimination. And this is what he's wading into. Rickford?
Well, first of all, he looks so stupid and he sounds stupid. I mean, I'm so embarrassed for Guyana that thing that we just see here, there is the vice president of the country. Again, just sitting down every week cursing out black people. Let us look at the situation with discrimination, what he said. He claims that if people feel discriminated against, they should go to the Ethnic Relations Commission. They have made sure that the Ethnic Relations Commission is packed with racists. Have you ever heard anybody on the Ethnic Relations Commission talking about the racism from the PPP? No. Talking about the hate speech that PPP supporters pour on social media? No. The Ethnic Relations Commission is only to monitor black people's speech. And that's primarily what it does. It doesn't investigate anything else. The Ethnic Relations Commission, whenever the PPP is in power, they put people there to be their watchdogs. People who, like the last time, were targeting me and David Hines and some other people who live in America, saying that the Ethnic Relations Commission was getting prosecuted to have us extradited for expressing free speech in America. So the Ethnic Relations Commission is a joke, just like Bar Jagdeh was a joke. The Ethnic Relations Commission is not going to investigate any complaint about PPP racism. The members of the Ethnic Relations Commission are some of them are racist themselves. You would recall that on the last commission had the most racist, hateful man in Guyana, spewing pure hatred against black people, and the government did nothing. In addition to that, the PPP's central governance philosophy is racism and discrimination. They are there to execute Trumpism. They only are governing for East Indians who support the PPP. There's no question about that. The evidence is overwhelming. Bar Jagdeh is only making himself a clown by coming there every week to deny discrimination. Just look at the contracts. Go on the tender board website. I was doing that with two members of Congress the other day. On the tender board website, it tells the entire story. Only East Indians are getting contracts. And they're giving some little small contract, clean drench, clean drains, build little bridges to black people and call that diversity. And that's probably 2% of the contracts that they're giving. The government is a racist government. Nothing they can do is going to the reality is so. The data prove it. There is statistics to prove it. There's empirical evidence to prove it. The problem is, you hear how he's talking? The opposition leader is saying that he wants to trigger a constitutional mechanism to meet with the president to deal with these issues. Bar Jagdeh is scoffing at it. He's saying, oh, he wants to meet the president. Oh, no, he don't need to be.
And suddenly he
That's the constitutional duty of the president. And in addition to that, Sharon, they don't want to meet with black leaders in Guyana. Oh, we're not going to meet with black leaders. Oh, this is East Indian supremacy time. East Indian triumphalism. That's what Jagdeh represented today. PPP, racist, East Indian triumphalism, sitting there as though he's Pope Jack David, the Tin Cup dictator, talking and pontificating about how we pay the medical bills of this black man. That's what he's saying. But you know what? They don't want to meet with the black leaders in Guyana, but they're running to come to America, knocking on every door they could find in Washington, begging to meet with black people to take a photograph to show the world, oh, we love black people. We're not racist. That's not going to make them not racist. The members of Congress at their meeting know that they're racist. We provided briefs upon briefs upon briefs with evidence to these people. They know that they're racist. They're accommodating them because they asked for a meeting and they give them a meeting. We're going to meet with them later. And they're also going to meet with the opposition. And when we meet with them, we will have the last laugh. So I see some people saying, oh, why meet with them? First of all, the members of Congress are not the alternative to the opposition, the lazy opposition in Guyana. Sherrod, you're part of it, so excuse me for saying that. You're a good guy. You work hard. But we must understand this, that the PPP is a racist government. They believe in propaganda, right? So their propaganda is, let's stay in Guyana and meet with ACDA and IPAJJ and all the black organizations and Amerindian organizations in Guyana who are accusing them of being racist. No, we don't meet with them. They are inferior to us. Let us go to Washington and meet the people who they complain to so that we could pour out to them our propaganda lies. Take a few pictures and fly back home. Irfaan Ali needs to answer to Guyana. What the hell did he accomplish in Washington? He was in Washington, except meeting for Leader Jeffries today. Meeting with a whole lot of low-level functionaries.
But
it's embarrassing. You had the president of Guyana, the head of state, meeting with the assistant secretary of state, the secretary of commerce, some Republican chairman of some Ways and Means committee, a couple of Democratic members of Congress, and then Leader Jeffries today with the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus.
Let us talk about some of that.
And giving 2 speeches to 2 classes, 1 class at Howard and 1 class at the Defense College, and some talk at Atlantic Council. What the hell is he doing in Washington? What the people of Guyana should ask him, what has he accomplished? He's running around Washington with the lobbyists, knocking on every door. Could you meet with me? I'm the president of Guyana. Hey, could you meet with me? It is crazy.
As you said, he had a meeting, he had a conversation at a forum, the dialogue. He has met with the Secretary of Commerce, Gina Romundo. He's also met with the House Committee Chair on Ways and Means, Jason Smith. He's had a presentation at the National Defense University. All this is concerning the conference you guys have.
Listen, Sherrod, he spoke to a class. He spoke to a class at the Defense University, and he spoke to another class at Howard University. This is just the lobbyists collecting $55 or how much $1,000 a month and giving him things to do because he wants to come to Washington to preempt or rebut our conference on September 28th and 29th. Sorry, 27th and 28th. I don't know what has he accomplished. It's embarrassing. It really, for me, it's really, look and see when the president, even the Prime Minister of Jamaica, when they come meet with the Vice President of the United States, they meet with their counterparts. This one there, I run around Washington, meeting, talking to people, 2 class at Howard, a couple of soldiers at the Defense College, some Atlantic Council, the Assistant Secretary of State. What? It's like this guy has nothing to do but Barry Chagday, who's his boss, tell him, go to Washington and come to what Burke and them guys doing up there. And so he flies out with half of his cabinet, the chief of staff of the army, the national security advisor, and he's in Washington knocking on every door, begging to meet with somebody. Anybody, black people, come meet with me, take a picture. Let me show Burke that I'm not racist, and I want to show Guyana that we can meet with black people too. That's it.
Here is what Vice President Jagdew said in his press conference on that note about the agenda, this robust agenda of Ali in Washington.
Many of you are aware that President Ali is in Washington now, pursuing an agenda to enlighten policymakers in Washington about the developments here in Guyana. So President Ali has 3 packed days of meetings. He'll be meeting with members of the executive, senior members of the Biden administration. He'll be meeting with several congressmen, including the head of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the House Ways and Means Committee. These are 2 of the most powerful committees in the U.S. Congress, dealing with foreign affairs and the budget. He'll be meeting with the Congressional Black Caucus, and I believe that Hakeem Jeffries will be there also. President Ali has engagements with the several think tanks and universities, and he'd also be meeting with the president of the Exim Bank. So as you can see, there are several issues there, both from executive, the legislature, and from other aspects of the government and NGO community that would be crucial to advancing an understanding of what's happening here in Guyana. Now, I've seen some attempts by Rickford Burke, predictably, and some of his henchmen to mischaracterize the engagement with the Congressional Black Caucus. President Ali was not invited to the Congressional Black Caucus to answer about our policies here in Guyana. He requested a meeting with the Congressional Black Caucus. He requested a meeting with Hakeem Jeffries to point out to them about what's taking place in Guyana, how inclusive his government has been, way beyond any APNU governments of the past. He will speak about, and he will meet with the Black Caucus, and he has the foreign minister and several other ministers there, and they will point out the misrepresentation that the people like Rickford Burke, the criminal Burke, I hope they point out his criminal history here in Guyana too. They'll point this out to members of Congress and to the Congressional Black Caucus, so that people have a better understanding of what's taking place here, and they would not be misled by Rickford Burke and the others. So I've seen already some attempts to mischaracterize his engagement with the Congressional Black Caucus.
You got a whole government to go to Washington, Rickford, because you're misrepresenting what's happening in Guyana.
Well, it seems as though I am setting the agenda for the government, and I feel very happy about that. If they are running around Washington chasing down what I say, first of all, I hope that Todd and Onish Waldron and Irfaan Ali told the Congressional Black Caucus that Bart Jagdeo is a killer, and that we believe he should be tried in The Hague and put to death if he's found guilty for over 1,400 murders that his death squads committed against Black people, a genocide. So let's put that aside. I hope that they told the Congressional Black Caucus about his criminal history, about him meeting in his house with investors, arranging to collect $500,000 bribe, US dollar bribe apiece, and he was caught by federal agents and Vice News. I hope they told him that. I hope they told him that he and his government squandered over $5 billion US when they were in power. I hope that they told the Congressional Black Caucus that Bart Jagdeo is wanted by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights for murder, for the murder of Collie Wells, where he's listed as a criminal defendant for that murder. So I think Bart Jagdeo has a substantial criminal history that would make the Congressional Black Caucus nauseous. Now let's go to what he said. I don't know how Bart Jagdeo can presume what I tell members of Congress. They're obsessed with that. They're obsessed with my influence in the United States and in Guyana.
Clearly.
So they've sent half the cabinet to Washington because they perceive that we are misleading the Congressional Black Caucus. The Congressional Black Caucus has all the information. They have researchers. They talk to people. Congressman Jeffries has thousands of Guyanese in his district. They walk around every day and they meet Guyanese who tell them about what's going on in Guyana. But the fact remains is that he can't have a press conference without calling my name, because he thinks that by calling my name and saying all of these things, he's going to scare members of Congress from me. What he is doing is making himself a target. Every member of Congress is asking, who is this clown named Jagdeo? They even refused to meet with him. That's why he couldn't come on the strip. If Jagdeo was on the strip, he would not be able to get into Capitol Hill, because he's known in the United States as a criminal. He's currently under investigation by the FBI for threatening members of Congress. Or his words are being reviewed by federal law enforcement because he threatened members of Congress. The Washington, D.C. police is reviewing his comments. So he is notorious. He's an international criminal. He is wanted by the Inter-American Human Rights Commission to answer questions about the killing of Collie Wills. And he should be prosecuted by the World Court for genocide, for organizing the murder or extrajudicial killing of over 1,400 young Black men. So I am willing to have a conversation with Bar Jagdeo any day about criminality, because he's an expert at it. He does it every night, every day, every hour. He's like Jack the Ripper on steroids.
Yeah. So all that you've said and all that we've discussed thus far, Rickford, is about this conference, the Washington Conference on Guyana, that your
Got him going
organization
crazy.
is hosting, the Caribbean Guyana Institute of Democracy, in tandem with the other organizations there in Washington from the 27th to the 28th of September, in a couple of days' time, albeit, and we'll try to bring as much updates to the people as we can, because there's lots of interest being generated clearly by this conference
But
here.
sorry, let me say this.
Go right ahead.
If the Guyana government feels, right, that people up here are misrepresenting their record in Guyana, why not send a dossier? Why not issue a press statement? You're going to send a whole president, three members of his cabinet, the chief of staff, and the national security advisor to go to Washington to say, Rickford Burke is misleading you. We beg you, don't listen to him anymore. Listen to us the racists, us the new KKK, us the new white people in Guyana who enslave Black people. Us, yeah. Bar Jagdeo song so stupid. Irfaan Ali looks so stupid. He has to fly to Washington. And listen to this. Bar Jagdeo said he's going to Washington to meet with senior members of the Biden administration. Okay, so far he met with the Assistant Secretary of State. He's met with the Secretary of Commerce. You know who are senior members of the Biden administration? The President, the Vice President, the National Security Advisor, the UN Ambassador, the Secretary of State, the Attorney General. Those are senior members of the Biden administration. What senior members of the Biden administration did Irfaan Ali meet? The Assistant Secretary of State? Give me a break. Then he talks about, he's meeting significant people from NGOs. He spoke to a class at Howard University, students. They targeted Black students so he could go and say, yeah, my government is diverse. Half the student at Howard knows that the government of Guyana is racist. Then his other significant administration appointment is with a class at the National Defense College. What is significant about that? Then he had some online meeting with the Assistant Secretary of State. And then he claims that, they had meetings with congressmen. So there are 435 members of Congress. The only significant one he met with is Leader Jeffries, who's the head of the Democratic Party in Congress. So I don't understand what is the objective and who they're trying to impress. But they're not impressing us in the diaspora. They look stupid. I'm a private citizen in America. We have a conference where our organization members are going to Washington to have a dialogue with our government officials and our elected officials about how we believe United States policy can help promote inclusive governance, inclusive growth, equality, equal rights and justice, sustainable development for all, and social equity in Guyana. Why, why do they have to go to counter that? Any government that's a democratic government should embrace that. Who doesn't want equality for all in the as a government? Which government in the world doesn't want inclusiveness in how the government resources are distributed? What government in the world doesn't want equality for everybody? What government in the world doesn't want everybody to benefit from economic development of the country? Bart Jagdeo sent Irfaan Ali to Washington to argue against that. Do you know how stupid they look? When people ask them, "Oh, what about the conference you're objecting to?" "Oh, it's Burke said this conference is not about Burke. This conference is not about the PPP government. This conference is about meeting our elected officials and our government officials to talk about how we all work together to promote equitable governance in Guyana, inclusive growth, meaning everybody must benefit from the expansion of the economy, social equity, everybody must be treated fairly, and we must have equity in the country, in the way the resources are distributed, and the way people access government funding and all of that. Equity, we want equity. We want equal rights and justice. We want equality. We want three East Indians get all black people must have all blacks too. Or if they're given contracts for billions in government contracts for infrastructure development, we want equality. We must have an equal number of contracts too, commensurate with what the East Indians are getting. That's what we're saying. And they're against that. They're against Guyanese living, every Guyanese living, or black people living comfortably, enjoying sustainable development. That's what they're against. How you can come to Washington to argue against that? They're stupid. They're establishing that they're racist, and the world knows this, and all the members of Congress they're meeting with are laughing at them because people know that they're racist, and people know that Ali is a puppet coming to Washington to parrot what Barr told them to say.
Yeah, and as you on that note, you mentioned that Jack is a person who really should be on trial before the Hague. His name calling a lot of issues, but in his press conference this afternoon, as he's running PR for Irfaan Ali, clearly a government with a very, very weak PR structure. Here he says it's not him, but it's Granger and some others should be before the courts. But he said, "I have grown soft in my old age." Take a listen. And he even seems to have turned against Trump, who has helped to install him in office and got him running for a fourth term as president. He seemed to have turned against Trump here. Take a listen.
If we were in a democracy like the United States of America, Granger and Cathy Hughes and Ramjatan and Patterson and Harmon, a whole gang of them, would have probably been before the court now. Look at what happened in the US. A former president, Donald Trump, was charged on several counts for trying to thwart the will of the people. Now, he didn't actively go out every day and do so. They just said that he was behind the scenes, basically involved with the insurrection. And he got charged, facing several charges in the US. And the other people who were associated with that so-called conspiracy were charged. Here in Guyana, we had Granger, who for 5 months hung on to power. Everybody said, I think there's a joke made, he prepared himself to be sworn in illegally three times. Every day they were on the TV trying to block the recount, going to court to change the will of the people.
So there he is, talking about Granger and trying to block a recount that Granger agreed to, that Granger proffered. Waiting on court cases that they took to court too, right? But this is the fella here. If we had a democracy like the US, where would Jack Joe be? Where would Sue be?
If we had democracy like the US, Jack, they would have the death penalty and it would be 6 feet on the earth because he's a killer. He formed death squads that killed hundreds of black people. And it's a genocide. It's the same thing Hitler did. And he must be classified like Hitler. And he's a tin pot dictator, a tin and cup dictator, as we would say, guy, a tin and cup dictator who thinks that he could sit down and pronounce on who must go to jail and who must not. Listen, if Guyana was a real democracy, Irfaan Ali would have been in jail. Jennifer Westford would have been in jail. The Minister of Finance would have been in jail. Brassington would have been in jail. All of them would have been in jail because all of them were charged with hundreds of thousands of dollars in fraud. In addition to that, they would have been in jail. They're the ones who allegedly voted unlawfully for thousands of people who live abroad. They're the ones who allegedly voted for hundreds of people who were dead. They just had more money and they paid lobbyists to petition the Trump administration, who then forced apparently the courts and the Elections Commission to call the elections for them. They have a one-seat majority, a one-seat majority. And the fact that police officers who examined the immigration records pointed out that some of the people who voted were not in the country on election day. And you know what they did? They tried to fire those officers, charge them, harass them, persecute them. All of them would have been in jail. This is the thing with Barry Jagdeo. He likes to project. He thinks he's so powerful and entitled to something that he can talk about who must go to jail. I want to repeat, Barry Jagdeo should be in jail. He just recently admitted at Roger Lunchan's memorial that his government formed death squads that killed over 1,400 black people. And Barry Jagdeo is going after me and talking about the conference all the time because he knows that he is an agenda item at the conference. We will pressure the hell out of the United States government to hold him accountable. We will ask why the Secretary of State, why government officials are sitting down meeting with this tin pot dictator who's a killer. His government arranged for hundreds, over 1,000 of black citizens to be murdered. He must be tried in The Hague and he must be prosecuted. And the United States government must isolate him. Recently, the United States government declared that the former vice president of Panama can no longer travel to the United States. Why? Because of corruption. Barry Jagdeo is the king of corruption. He is the king of corruption in the Western Hemisphere. Why is he being held to a different standard? Because he has a couple of lobbyists that he's using Guyana's oil money to pay? The United States government must tell us that. The United States State Department, we will question them. Why is the Assistant Secretary of State sitting down with a president that's a despot? Why is Anthony Blinken, going to Guyana and not addressing the issues that affect people other than the supporters of the government? All of this we are going to talk about at the conference. That's why we want to have a dialogue with our government. There's a serious groundswell, Sharon, of anti-Democratic Party sentiment among Guyanese all across this country who believe that the Biden administration is not adequately addressing their concerns. And they're saying they're not going to vote. As a Democrat, I don't want to see that happen. And so that's why we want to meet with our United States government officials and our members of Congress from Georgia, from Pennsylvania, from New Jersey, from New York, from Florida, all around. We have to address these issues. We are not going to sit down anymore and allow these despots from Guyana to come to the United States and sweet talk U.S. government officials. And also, we want to dismantle this U.S. policy where they go to Guyana and they only talk to the government. It is ridiculous. The government of Guyana does not speak for everybody. The government of Guyana is a racist, East Indian-led government that does not speak for black people, does not represent the interests of black people. And so when US government officials go to Guyana, they must meet with black leaders outside of the government. They must meet with the opposition. They must meet with the AFC. They must meet with the APNU. They must meet with Amerindian leaders. They must meet with black leaders. The government represents the East Indian population. That's how the country is. That's the reality. And that's what we're talking to them about. We don't care what they say in Guyana and think about us, whether we are criminals because we're black and we speak it out. That's fine, because many of their parents made criminals too, or made actual criminals. They have no evidence to call us criminals, but that's the way Barack Jagdeo thinks about black people. I've been making this argument for months, and he's proven me right. Let's look at who we call criminal today. Me, David Patterson, David Granger, Raphael Trotman, Aubrey Norton, Kathy Hughes. His damn eyes past black people. And it is time the people in Guyana stand up and form a resistance against this nasty racist. I am not going to sit down and allow him to besmirch me and libel me and defame me. I'll take action, but I'll do it back to him. Every time he does it, I'll do it back to him. I'll go after him like nobody has ever done before. I will give him sleepless nights and nightmares. I will give him a heart attack. I am ready to go after him. Whenever he comes to me, I'll go after him. Let us see who's going to destroy each other first.
Rickford, they're clearly worried about this conference that you have planned here and are executing in the United States of America, in particular in Washington. And that's why we see 3/4 of the cabinet there trying to blunt the momentum, the impact, the output, and what's going to happen there in Washington, D.C. on the 27th and the 28th of September. I know you wouldn't want to tell us everything, but tell us how the general plans are coming for the staging of this conference. No doubt, severe pressure being brought to bear and all those involved. Jagdeo in his previous press conference said he's going to shame everybody who attend this conference you guys have, the Washington Conference on Guyana.
Well, let him have a go at it. He wants to embarrass people, let him go at it. He just embarrassed himself. The conference is coming well. We have all the plans in place. We're just doing the finishing touches. We will meet with our government officials. We will meet with our executive branch officials. We would meet with members of Congress. We will have a significant dialogue. And there will be significant movement in terms of what we are asking for from this government. We're talking to the government. We're talking to our members of Congress. We have very specific asks, and we'll pursue those. He's talking about Exim Bank. We plan to meet with the president of Exim Bank too. We plan to meet with persons from the White House. We've invited them to meet with us. We've invited the State Department. We've invited persons from other aspects of the government. And we will also meet with the Congressional Black Caucus. We will meet with other members of Congress. We will meet with United States senators. We will talk to our government. That's our right. The Constitution of the United States gives us the right to petition our government. It is part of the rule of law in this country that we can petition the government. It has nothing to do with Barack Jagdeo. He should butt out and go and try to see how much more money he could hustle off of the Chinese investors and allow us in America to live our lives and do what we want. This is a free country. He can't control what we do. We don't tell him what to do in Guyana except tell him to leave black people alone. And he's boasting about his government is the most fair government in history. And he's taking away the lands of black people. Sharad, I challenged Barack Jagdeo today. He said he's going to resign if we can prove discrimination. Listen, every major black business in Guyana, since they came to power, they've gone after. They've sent the revenue department to go after people. They're taking away people's land. They try to take away car care land. They try to take away Sebon's land. They have to settle that. They're trying to take away lands on the west coast of Berbice from the relative of Kojo McPherson. They're taking away lands from black people in Mucka. They're taking away lands from business people who want to build businesses in Guyana and giving it to their friends. Barack Jagdeo's partner for the CPL cricket, whatever, Premier League, they just give him a land, or allegedly give him some sort of land that they took away from some black person. And Bart Jagdeo is boasting that they are a government that is fair. Who does he think he's talking to? Some people in Pluto? We know what is happening, Sharon. They're a racist government. They're racist to the teeth. They think they own the country. They want to control everything in the country. Guyana has 83,000 square miles, Sharon. 83,000 square miles. These greedy pigs in the PPP. Only 18% of the country is occupied. Out of 83,000 square miles, only 18% is occupied. And these greedy, racist pigs from the PPP are taking away the land of black people. Are you that greedy? Are you that greedy? You know, people are so angry. I was in a store last Friday, just before Labor Day. Sorry, the Friday after that. And some young men were arguing, and they were so passionate. And these are young men. One of them was talking about his grandmother land was taken away, and he feels like going and break up the whole country. And I'm like, you think that's going to solve the problem? Why don't you go and take back your grandmother's land from whoever got it? So people are angry. And Irfaan Ali could go to Washington and skin his teeth with two house slaves who refused to represent the interests of black people, two house slaves who apparently prefer to shed their identity as Afro-Guyanese and watch their fellow black people being dispossessed of lands in Guyana and then call themselves patriotic. They're fools. They're like slave catchers. Stand up and fight for the right. If you want to be in the government, that's fine. But at least you must have a constituency, right? And if you claim that you're black and you want to go to Washington to tell members of Congress, oh, hey, I'm black, I'm in the cabinet, stand up for the rights of black people. And tell Bart Jagdeo to cut out that nonsense where they're taking away people's lands. For God's sake, the country is 83,000 square miles. 18% is occupied. Why the hell you got to take away land from black people?
Yep. We hear you, Rickford. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We are out of time. We wish you the best in this conference. We're going to be there bringing folks the latest, as many updates as we can. There's a lot of interest, Rickford, being generated by this conference. What is going to be said, who is going to be seeing it, and we know that Hakeem Jeffries is slated to be one of the persons speaking at this conference among some Reds as well. And so we look forward to being on the ground there with you guys in another couple of days' time. Thank you for your own effort and all that you do. And thank you for spending this time with us.
Thanks for having me, and I look forward to seeing you in Washington.
Excellent.
Good night, everybody.
Right, folks, there you have it here, the one and only president of the Caribbean Ghana Institute of Democracy, Rickford Burke. We can't do these programs without you. We can't go to Washington without you, folks. So we want to give you guys an opportunity to help us to keep on going day after day, week after week, month after month. November's 3 years. We're out here, folks, bringing you guys valid and credible information. And here is how you can help us.
Want to keep getting the best in the ring?
Let's fight!
Yes, you can help us to keep going by partnering with us through your contributions. And it's easy. Send us a daily, weekly, or monthly donation, whichever is most convenient to you. Cash App at $in the ring 592, Zelle and PayPal in the ring 592 at gmail.com, or WhatsApp us on 627-6963 for how to contribute via MoneyGram and Western Union and for MMG payments.
Yeah, and you know what, folks? We have capacity now to accept your debit and credit cards as well. Shoot us up a message on WhatsApp. WhatsApp, we easy 21st century. We send you guys a quick link. And folks, in under 30 seconds, you can send us a contribution to help our show keep going. Help us to get to Washington to bring you the latest, folks. All of the updates live and direct on the 27th and 28th out of that conference in Washington, D.C. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. And most of all, folks, Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for those of you who hear with us day after day, night after night, and this very, very special program of In the Ring this evening. Irfaan Ali goes to Washington. Thanks to all of you for joining us. That's going to do it for us at this end. If you come and you don't share the live yet, you're wicked. 4,000 plus of you joined us. 4,000, we saw the highest. 800 of you join us around the world, across social media. Audrey Stevens shared the live. Charles Nelson shared the live. Bella Mona. I see Ivatni James is here as well. Shonel Beresford. Grace Noel. Glenford Gordon. I see Edward Brooms, Ingrid Austin. I see Alison Cortez. Alison, good to see you. Evelina Whitaker's here as well. All the folks joining us around the world, across social media. Thanks for joining us this evening. We're going to see you guys on our next broadcast. Stay safe, each and every one of you. I like it when Alison says bye. Beatrice Selby, night to you too. And Randy Fordyce and Rami Leander, Brenda Braffett. I got to ring the bell one time for you folks. That's going to do it for us at this end. Stay safe until our next broadcast. Stay safe, guys. Ring it one more time. All right, that's going to do it for us. That's our time. That's our program.